Chapters 31 through 36 of the second book of the Chronicles, from the Young's literal translation. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 31. And at the completion of all this, gone out have all Israel who are found present to the cities of Judah, and break the standing pillars, and cut down the shrines, and break down the high places and the altars, out of all Judah and Benjamin, and in Ephraim and Manasseh, even to completion. And all the sons of Israel turn back, each to his possession, to their cities. And Hezekiah appointeth the courses of the priests and of the Levites by their courses, each according to his service, of the priests and of the Levites for burnt offering, and for peace offerings, to minister, and to give thanks, and to give praise in the gates of the camps of Jehovah. And a portion of the king from his substance is for burnt offerings of the morning and of the evening, and the burnt offerings of Sabbaths and of new moons, and of appointed seasons, as it is written in the law of Jehovah. And he saith to the people, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, to give the portion of the priests and of the Levites, so that they are strengthened in the law of Jehovah. And at the speaking forth of the thing, have the sons of Israel multiplied the firstfruit of corn, new wine, and oil, and honey, and of all the increase of the field, and the tithe of the whole in abundance they have brought in. And the sons of Israel and Judah, those dwelling in cities of Judah, they also a tithe of herd and flock, and a tithe of the holy things that are sanctified to Jehovah their God, have brought in, and they give heaps. In the 3rd month they have begun to lay the foundation of the heaps, and in the 7th month they have finished. And Hezekiah and the heads come in and see the heaps, and bless Jehovah and his people Israel. And Hezekiah inquireth at the priests and the Levites concerning the heaps. And Azariah the head priest of the house of Zadok speaketh unto him, and saith, From the beginning of the bringing of the heave offering to the house of Jehovah, there is to eat, and to be satisfied, and to leave abundantly, for Jehovah hath blessed his people, and that left is this store. And Hezekiah saith to prepare chambers in the house of Jehovah, and they prepare. And they bring in the heave offering, and the tithe, and the holy things faithfully. And over them is a leader, Conaniah the Levite, and Shimei his brother is second, and Jehiel, and Azaziah, and Nahath, and Asahel, and Jeremoth, and Jozabad, and Eliel, and Ismachiah, and Mahath, and Benaiah, are inspectors under the hand of Conaniah and Shimei his brother, by the appointment of Hezekiah the king, and Azariah leader of the house of God. And Kore, son of Imnah the Levite, the gatekeeper at the east, is over the willing offerings of God, to give the heave offering of Jehovah, and the most holy things. And by his hand are Eden, and Meniamin, and Jeshua, and Shemaiah, Amariah, and Shechaniah, in cities of the priests, faithfully to give to their brethren in courses, as the great so the small, apart from their genealogy, to males from a son of 3 years and upward, to every one who hath gone in to the house of Jehovah, by the matter of a day in its day, for their service in their charges, according to their courses. And the genealogy of the priests by the house of their fathers, and of the Levites, from a son of 20 years and upward, in their charges, in their courses. And to the genealogy among all their infants, their wives, and their sons, and their daughters, to all the congregation, for in their faithfulness they sanctify themselves in holiness. And to sons of Aaron the priests, in the fields of the suburb of their cities, in every city and city, are men who have been defined by name, to give portions to every male among the priests, and to every one who reckoned himself by genealogy among the Levites. And Hezekiah doth thus in all Judah, and doth that which is good, and that which is right, and that which is true, before Jehovah his God. And in every work that he hath begun for the service of the house of God, and for the law, and for the command, to seek to his God, with all his heart he hath wrought and prospered. Chapter 32. After these things, and this truth, come hath Sennacherib, king of Ashur, yea, he cometh into Judah, and encampeth against the cities of the bulwarks, and saith to rend them unto himself. And Hezekiah seeth that Sennacherib hath come, and his face is to the battle against Jerusalem. And he taketh counsel with his heads and his mighty ones, to stop the waters of the fountains that are at the outside of the city, and they help him. And much people are gathered, and they stop all the fountains and the brook that is rushing into the midst of the land, saying, Why do the kings of Ashur come, and have found much water? And he strengtheneth himself, and buildeth the whole of the wall that is broken, and causeth it to ascend unto the towers, and at the outside of the wall another, and strengtheneth Millo, in the city of David, and maketh darts in abundance, and shields. And he putteth heads of war over the people, and gathereth them unto him, unto the broad place of a gate of the city, and speaketh unto their heart, saying, Be strong and courageous, be not afraid, nor be cast down from the face of the king of Ashur, and from the face of all the multitude that is with him, for with us are more than with him. With him is an arm of flesh, and with us is Jehovah our God, to help us and to fight our battles. And the people are supported by the words of Hezekiah king of Judah. After this hath Sennacherib king of Ashur sent his servants to Jerusalem, and he is by Lachish, and all his power with him, against Hezekiah king of Judah, and against all Judah who are in Jerusalem, saying, Thus said Sennacherib king of Ashur, On what are ye trusting and abiding in the bulwark in Jerusalem? Is not Hezekiah persuading you to give you up to die by famine and by thirst, saying, Jehovah our God doth deliver us from the hand of the king of Ashur? Hath not Hezekiah himself turned aside his high places and his altars, and speaketh to Judah and to Jerusalem, saying, Before one altar ye bow yourselves, and on it ye make perfume? Do ye not know what I have done, I and my fathers, to all peoples of the lands? Were the gods of the nations of the lands at all able to deliver their land out of my hand? Who among all the gods of these nations, whom my fathers have devoted to destruction, is he who hath been able to deliver his people out of my hand, that your God is able to deliver you out of my hand? And now let not Hezekiah lift you up, nor persuade you thus, nor give credence to him. For no God of any nation and kingdom is able to deliver his people from my hand, and from the hand of my fathers. Also, surely your God doth not deliver you from my hand. And again have his servants spoken against Jehovah God, and against Hezekiah his servant. And letters he hath written to give reproach to Jehovah God of Israel, and to speak against him, saying, As the gods of the nations of the lands that have not delivered their people from my hand, so the God of Hezekiah doth not deliver his people from my hand. And they call with a great voice in Jewish against the people of Jerusalem who are on the wall, to frighten them and to trouble them, that they may capture the city. And they speak against the God of Jerusalem as against the gods of the peoples of the land, work of the hands of man. And Hezekiah the king prayeth, and Isaiah son of Amoz the prophet, concerning this, and they cry to the heavens. And Jehovah sendeth a messenger, and cutteth off every mighty one of valor, both leader and head, in the camp of the king of Ashur. And he turneth back with shame of face to his land, and entereth the house of his God. And those coming out of his bowels have caused him to fall there by the sword. And Jehovah saveth Hezekiah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem from the hand of Sennacherib king of Ashur, and from the hand of all, and he leadeth them round about. And many are bringing in an offering to Jehovah to Jerusalem, and precious things to Hezekiah king of Judah, and he is lifted up before the eyes of all the nations after this. In those days hath Hezekiah been sick even unto death, and he prayeth unto Jehovah, and he speaketh to him, and a wonder hath appointed for him. And Hezekiah hath not returned according to the deed done unto him, for his heart hath been lofty, and there is wrath upon him, and upon Judah and Jerusalem. And Hezekiah is humbled for the loftiness of his heart, he and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the wrath of Jehovah hath not come upon them in the days of Hezekiah. And Hezekiah hath riches and honour very much, and treasures he hath made to himself of silver, and of gold, and of precious stone, and of spices, and of shields, and of all kinds of desirable vessels, and storehouses for the increase of corn, and new wine, and oil, and stalls for all kinds of cattle, and herds for stalls. And cities he hath made for himself, and possessions of flocks and herds in abundance, for God hath given to him very much substance. And Hezekiah himself hath stopped the upper source of the waters of Gihon, and directeth them beneath to the west of the city of David. And Hezekiah prospereth in all his work. And so with the ambassadors of the heads of Babylon, those sending unto him to inquire of the wonder that hath been in the land, God hath left him to try him, to know all in his heart. And the rest of the matters of Hezekiah and his kind acts, lo, they are written in the vision of Isaiah son of Amoz the prophet, on the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. And Hezekiah lieth with his fathers, and they bury him in the uppermost of the graves of the sons of David. And all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem have done honor to him at his death, and reign doth Manasseh his son in his stead. Chapter 33. A son of 12 years is Manasseh in his reigning, and 55 years he hath reigned in Jerusalem. And he doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, like the abominations of the nations that Jehovah dispossessed from the presence of the sons of Israel. And he turneth and buildeth the high places that Hezekiah his father hath broken down, and raiseth altars for Baalim, and maketh shrines, and boweth himself to all the host of the heavens, and serveth them. And he hath built altars in the house of Jehovah, of which Jehovah had said, In Jerusalem is my name to the age. And he buildeth altars to all the host of the heavens in the 2 courts of the house of Jehovah. And he hath caused his sons to pass over through fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom, and observed clouds, and used enchantments and witchcraft, and dealt with a familiar spirit and a wizard. He hath multiplied to do the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, to provoke him to anger. And he placeth the graven image of the idol that he made in the house of God, of which God said unto David and unto Solomon his son, In this house and in Jerusalem that I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I put my name to the age, and I add not to turn aside the foot of Israel from off the ground that I appointed to your fathers, only if they watch to do all that I have commanded them, to all the law, and the statutes, and the ordinances by the hand of Moses. And Manasseh maketh Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to err, to do evil above the nations that Jehovah destroyed from the presence of the sons of Israel. And Jehovah speaketh unto Manasseh and unto his people, and they have not attended. And Jehovah bringeth in against them the heads of the host that the king of Ashur hath. And they capture Manasseh among the thickets, and bind him with brazen fetters, and cause him to go to Babylon. And when he is in distress, he hath appeased the face of Jehovah his God, and is humbled exceedingly before the God of his fathers, and prayeth unto him, and he is entreated of him, and heareth his supplication, and bringeth him back to Jerusalem to his kingdom. And Manasseh knoweth that Jehovah, he is God. And after this he hath built an outer wall to the city of David, on the west of Gihon, in the valley, and at the entering in of the fish gate. And it hath gone round to the tower, and he maketh it exceeding high. And he putteth heads of the force in all the cities of the bulwarks in Judah. And he turneth aside the gods of the stranger, and the idol out of the house of Jehovah, and all the altars that he had built in the mount of the house of Jehovah and in Jerusalem, and casteth them to the outside of the city. And he buildeth the altar of Jehovah, and sacrificeth upon it sacrifices of peace offerings and thank offering, and saith to Judah to serve Jehovah God of Israel. But still the people are sacrificing in high places, only to Jehovah their God. And the rest of the matters of Manasseh, and his prayer unto his God, and the matters of the seers, those speaking unto him in the name of Jehovah God of Israel, lo, they are on the book of the matters of the kings of Israel. And his prayer, and his entreaty, and all his sin, and his trespass, and the places in which he had built high places, and established the shrines and the graven images before his being humbled, lo, they are written beside the matters of Hosea. And Manasseh lieth with his fathers, and they bury him in his own house, and reign doth Amon his son in his stead. A son of 22 years is Amon in his reigning, and 2 years he hath reigned in Jerusalem. And he doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, as did Manasseh his father, and to all the graven images that Manasseh his father had made hath Amon sacrificed, and serveth them, and hath not been humbled before Jehovah like the humbling of Manasseh his father, for Amon himself hath multiplied guilt. And his servants conspire against him, and put him to death in his own house. And the people of the land smite all those conspiring against King Amon, and the people of the land caused Josiah his son to reign in his stead. Chapter 34. A son of 8 years is Josiah in his reigning, and 31 years he hath reigned in Jerusalem. And he doth that which is right in the eyes of Jehovah, and walketh in the ways of David his father, and hath not turned aside right or left. And in the 8th year of his reign, and he yet a youth, he hath begun to seek to the God of David his father, and in the 12th year he hath begun to cleanse Judah and Jerusalem from the high places, and the shrines, and the graven images, and the molten images. And they break down before him the altars of the Baalim, and the images that are on high above them he hath cut down, and the shrines, and the graven images, and the molten images he hath broken and beaten small, and streweth on the surface of the graves of those sacrificing to them. And the bones of the priests he hath burnt on their altars, and cleanseth Judah and Jerusalem, and in the cities of Manasseh and Ephraim and Simeon, even unto Naphtali, with their tools, round about. And he breaketh down the altars and the shrines, and the graven images he hath beaten down very small, and all the images he hath cut down in all the land of Israel, and turneth back to Jerusalem. And in the 18th year of his reign, to purify the land and the house, he hath sent Shaphan son of Azaliah, and Maaseiah head of the city, and Joah son of Johaz the remembrancer, to strengthen the house of Jehovah his God. And they come in unto Hilkiah the high priest, and they give the money that is brought in to the house of God, that the Levites, keeping the threshold, have gathered from the hand of Manasseh and Ephraim, and from all the remnant of Israel, and from all Judah, and Benjamin, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And they give it into the hand of the workmen, those appointed over the house of Jehovah, and they give it to the workmen who are working in the house of Jehovah, to repair and to strengthen the house. And they give it to artificers and to builders to buy hewn stones, and wood for couplings and for beams to the houses that the kings of Judah had destroyed. And the men are working faithfully in the business, and over them are appointed Jahath and Obadiah the Levites, of the sons of Merari, and Zechariah and Meshullam of the sons of the Kohathite, to overlook. And of the Levites, every one understanding about instruments of song, and over the burden-bearers, and overseers of every one doing work for service and service. And of the Levites are scribes, and officers, and gatekeepers. And in their bringing out the money that is brought into the house of Jehovah, hath Hilkiah the priest found the book of the law of Jehovah by the hand of Moses. And Hilkiah answereth and saith unto Shaphan the scribe, A book of the law I have found in the house of Jehovah. And Hilkiah giveth the book unto Shaphan, and Shaphan bringeth in the book unto the king, and bringeth the king back word again, saying, All that hath been given into the hand of thy servants they are doing, and they pour out the money that is found in the house of Jehovah, and give it into the hand of those appointed, and into the hands of those doing the work. And Shaphan the scribe declareth to the king, saying, A book hath Hilkiah the priest given to me. And Shaphan readeth in it before the king. And it cometh to pass, at the king's hearing the words of the law, that he rendeth his garments. And the king commandeth Hilkiah, and Ahikam son of Shaphan, and Abdon son of Micah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah servant of the king, saying, Go, seek Jehovah for me, and for him who is left in Israel and in Judah concerning the words of the book that is found. For great is the fury of Jehovah that is poured on us, because that our fathers kept not the word of Jehovah to do according to all that is written on this book. And Hilkiah goeth, and they of the king, unto Huldah the prophetess, wife of Shallum son of Tikvath, son of Hazra, keeper of the garments, and she is dwelling in Jerusalem in the second. And they speak unto her thus, and she saith to them, Thus said Jehovah, God of Israel, Say to the man who hath sent you unto me, Thus said Jehovah, Lo, I am bringing in evil on this place and on its inhabitants, all the execrations that are written on the book that they read before the king of Judah. because that they have forsaken me, and make perfume to other gods, so as to provoke me with all the works of their hands. And poured out is my fury upon this place, and it is not quenched. And unto the king of Judah, who is sending you to inquire of Jehovah, thus do ye say unto him, Thus said Jehovah God of Israel, whose words thou hast heard. Because thy heart is tender, and thou art humbled before God in thy hearing his words concerning this place and concerning its inhabitants, and art humbled before me, and dost rend thy garments and weep before me, even I also have heard the affirmation of Jehovah. Lo, I am gathering thee unto thy fathers, and thou hast been gathered unto thy graves in peace, and thine eyes do not look on all the evil that I am bringing upon this place and upon its inhabitants. And they bring the king back word. And the king sendeth and gathereth all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. And the king goeth up to the house of Jehovah, and every man of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the priests and the Levites, even all the people, from great even unto small. And he readeth in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant that is found in the house of Jehovah. And the king standeth on his station, and maketh the covenant before Jehovah, to walk after Jehovah, and to keep his commands, and his testimonies, and his statutes, with all his heart, and with all his soul, to do the words of the covenant that are written on this book. And he presenteth every one who is found in Jerusalem and Benjamin, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, do according to the covenant of God, the God of their fathers. And Josiah turneth aside all the abominations out of all the lands that the sons of Israel have, and causeth every one who is found in Israel to serve Jehovah their God. All his days they turned not aside from after Jehovah, God of their fathers. Chapter 35. And Josiah maketh in Jerusalem a Passover to Jehovah, and they slaughter the Passover offering on the 14th of the first month. And he stationeth the priests over their charges, and strengtheneth them for the service of the house of Jehovah, and saith to the Levites, who are teaching all Israel, who are sanctified to Jehovah, Put the holy ark in the house that Solomon son of David king of Israel built. It is not to you a burden on the shoulder. Now serve Jehovah your God, and his people Israel, and prepare by the house of your fathers, according to your courses, by the writing of David king of Israel, and by the writing of Solomon his son, and stand in the sanctuary by the divisions of the house of the fathers of your brethren, sons of the people, and the portion of the house of a father of the Levites, and slaughter the Passover offering, and sanctify yourselves, and prepare for your brethren to do according to the word of Jehovah by the hand of Moses. And Josiah lifteth up to the sons of the people a flock of lambs and young goats, the whole for Passover offerings, for every one who is found, to the number of 30,000, and oxen 3,000. These are from the substance of the king. And his heads, for a willing offering to the people, to the priests and to the Levites, have lifted up. Hilkiah and Zechariah and Jehiel, leaders in the house of God, to the priests have given for Passover offerings 2,600, and oxen 300. And Conaniah, and Shemaiah, and Nathaniel, his brethren, and Hashabiah, and Jael, and Jozabad, heads of the Levites, have lifted up to the Levites for Passover offerings 5,000, and oxen 500. And the service is prepared, and the priests stand on their station, and the Levites on their courses, according to the command of the king. And they slaughter the Passover offering, and the priests sprinkle out of their hand, and the Levites are stripping. And they turn aside the burnt offering, to put them by the divisions of the house of the fathers of the sons of the people, to bring near to Jehovah, as it is written in the book of Moses, and so to the oxen. And they cook the Passover with fire, according to the ordinance, and the sanctified things they have cooked in pots, and in kettles, and in pans, for all the sons of the people. And afterward they have prepared for themselves, and for the priests. For the priests, sons of Aaron, are in the offering up of the burnt offering and of the fat till night. And the Levites have prepared for themselves, and for the priests, sons of Aaron. And the singers, sons of Asaph, are on their station, according to the command of David, and Asaph, and Heman, and Jeduthun, seer of the king, and the gatekeepers are at gate and gate. It is not for them to turn aside from off their service, for their brethren the Levites have prepared for them. And all the service of Jehovah is prepared on that day, to keep the Passover, and to cause to ascend burnt offering upon the altar of Jehovah, according to the command of King Josiah. And the sons of Israel who are found make the Passover at that time, and the feast of unleavened things 7 days. And there hath not been made a Passover like it in Israel from the days of Samuel the prophet, and none of the kings of Israel made such a Passover as Josiah hath made, and the priests, and the Levites, and all Judah and Israel who are found, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. In the 18th year of the reign of Josiah hath this Passover been made. After all this, when Josiah hath prepared the house, come up hath Necho king of Egypt to fight against Carchemish by freight, and Josiah goeth forth to meet him. And he sendeth unto him messengers, saying, What? To me unto thee, O king of Judah? Not against thee do I come today, but unto the house with which I have war. And God said to haste me, Cease for thee from God who is with me, and he doth not destroy thee. And Josiah hath not turned round his face from him, but to fight against him hath disguised himself, and hath not hearkened unto the words of Necho from the mouth of God, and cometh in to fight in the valley of Megiddo. And the archers shoot at King Josiah, and the king saith to his servants, Remove me, for I have become very sick. And his servants remove him from the chariot, and cause him to ride on the second chariot that he hath, and cause him to go to Jerusalem. And he dieth, and is buried in the graves of his fathers. And all Judah and Jerusalem are mourning for Josiah. And Jeremiah lamenteth for Josiah, and all the singers and the songstresses speak in their lamentations of Josiah unto this day, and set them for a statute on Israel, and lo, they are written beside the lamentations. And the rest of the matters of Josiah, and his kind acts, according as it is written in the law of Jehovah, even his matters, the first and the last, lo, they are written on the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. Chapter 36. And the people of the land take Jehoahaz son of Josiah, and cause him to reign instead of his father in Jerusalem. A son of 23 years is Jehoahaz in his reigning, and 3 months he hath reigned in Jerusalem. And turn him aside doth the king of Egypt in Jerusalem, and findeth the land 100 talents of silver, and a talent of gold. And the king of Egypt causeth Eliakim his brother to reign over Judah and Jerusalem, and turneth his name to Jehoiakim. And Jehoahaz his brother hath Necho taken, and bringeth him into Egypt. A son of 25 years is Jehoiakim in his reigning, and 11 years he hath reigned in Jerusalem. And he doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah his God. Against him hath Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon come up, and bindeth him in brazen fetters to take him away to Babylon. And of the vessels of the house of Jehovah hath Nebuchadnezzar brought into Babylon, and putteth them in his temple in Babylon. And the rest of the matters of Jehoiakim, and his abominations that he hath done, and that which is found against him, lo, they are written on the book of the kings of Israel and Judah, and reign doth Jehoiakim his son in his stead. A son of 8 years is Jehoiakim in his reigning, and 3 months and 10 days he hath reigned in Jerusalem. And he doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah. And at the turn of the year hath King Nebuchadnezzar sent and bringeth him into Babylon, with the desirable vessels of the house of Jehovah, and causeth Zedekiah his brother to reign over Judah and Jerusalem. A son of 21 years is Zedekiah in his reigning, and 11 years he hath reigned in Jerusalem. And he doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah his God. He hath not been humbled before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of Jehovah. And also against King Nebuchadnezzar he hath rebelled, who had caused him to swear by God, and he hardeneth his neck, and strengtheneth his heart, against turning back unto Jehovah, God of Israel. Also all the heads of the priests and the people, having multiplied to commit a trespass according to all the abominations of the nations, and they defile the house of Jehovah that he hath sanctified in Jerusalem. And Jehovah, God of their fathers, sendeth unto them by the hand of his messengers, rising early and sending, for he hath had pity on his people, and on his habitation. And they are mocking at the messengers of God, and despising his words, and acting deceitfully with his prophets, till the going up of the fury of Jehovah against his people, till there is no healing. And he causeth to go up against them the king of the Chaldeans, and he slayeth their chosen ones by the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and hath had no pity on young man and virgin, old man and very aged. The whole he hath given into his hand. And all the vessels of the house of God, the great and the small, and the treasures of the house of Jehovah, and the treasures of the king and of his princes, the whole he hath brought into Babylon. And they burn the house of God, and break down the wall of Jerusalem, and all its palaces they have burnt with fire, and all its desirable vessels, to destruction. And he removeth those left of the sword unto Babylon, and they are to him and to his sons for servants, till the reigning of the kingdom of Persia, to fulfill the word of Jehovah in the mouth of Jeremiah, till the land hath enjoyed its Sabbaths. All the days of the desolation it kept Sabbath, to the fullness of 70 years. And in the first year of Cyrus king of Persia, at the completion of the word of Jehovah in the mouth of Jeremiah, hath Jehovah waked up the spirit of Cyrus king of Persia, and he causeth an intimation to pass over into all his kingdom, and also in writing, saying, Thus said Cyrus king of Persia, All kingdoms of the earth hath Jehovah, God of the heavens, given to me, and he hath laid a charge on me to build to him a house in Jerusalem, that is in Judah. Who is among you of all his people? Jehovah his God is with him, and he doth go up. The end of chapters 31 through 36, and the end of the second book of the Chronicles from the Young's Literal Translation of the Bible. Recording by Mark Penfold.